I like the Suns tonight. I like them laying 6. I thought that spread was fat for how bad they've been playing this season early on and how good Minnesota has looked.
Not so fast.
Midget.
Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast.
This is the first game of Booker, Beal, and KD. This is their debut together.
Yeah, that's fucking beat. Fuck Bradley Beal. He is the worst. And I'm officially off of the Suns tonight. I honestly might even fade him. Justin Herbert, I'm just going to say it. He's mid. Dak Prescott, he's a coin respecter right now. He is. Jameis Winston, though.
I feel like he could go in the GOAT category just because he's Jameis.
You could tell last night. Kent State had no business winning that game. They were never winning that game. Shit bets. I cannot believe what my eyeballs witnessed on the court last night in that. What the fuck, dude?
Took Nick Bosa over 0.75 sacks. So Baker is screwed. The offensive line is screwed. Nick Bosa is going to terrorize them.
What's going on, chat? Happy BTL episode 370 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your two hosts, Krabs and Javon, on this beautiful Tuesday morning, presented by Props.Cash. If you guys aren't using Props.Cash to dial in and find more prize pick squares that you like, or to bet props on the books, whatever the hell, gets you going, whatever gets you out of bed in the morning, go check out Props.Cash. I promise it's going to help you hit more prize picks entries. I've been using it myself for almost 6 months now, and it surely helps. I could not be worse at prize picks entries up until about 6 months ago until I get the Props.Cash database. Next thing you know, I'm hitting slips. It really is that simple. W's, go check out Props.Cash. Javon, it was always Tommy Cutlets and the New York Giants +6. Honestly, didn't even freaking need the points. He is unbelievable. What a story.
Yeah. That's insane. We got dueling Memos in both games last night. I mean, that was an insane night. Insane night of NFL.
Those two games made up for, the last 2 months of Moose Shit primetime games, although we have seen more overs. We've seen better games recently in the last 2 weeks. Those two games last night made up for the first 2 months of the season where we had Moose Shit primetime games. Those were electric. What a comeback from the Titans. I mean, 2 unbelievable games. And the Giants and Tommy Cutlets coming back from behind and getting a big-time win there. Unbelievable. This guy, it's straight out of a movie. It really is. I cannot believe that Tommy Cutlets not only is just a quarterback that's succeeding right now in the NFL, and I tip my cap props to him, but he's on the New York Football Giants, the most New Jersey football player I've ever witnessed in my entire life. He's on the perfect team. You can't make it up, Javon. You probably aren't around too many Jersey people, but as a guy who went to Virginia Tech with probably half the students from New Jersey or that area up there, it could not be more scripted and just perfect how it worked out with Tommy DeVito on the New York Giants. My friends are acting like he's Tom Brady. I don't blame him. He's already better than Daniel Jones. He's already back.
Yeah, he's just been ridiculous. It's not like he was going up against, with all due respect, like the Commanders in this game. Because this Packers defense is good.
They've been heating up recently.
He didn't light the world on fire exactly for the entire game, but he was super efficient. What did he have? 4 incompletions? I don't even know what to say. I wasn't the biggest Daniel Jones hater necessarily. I kind of believed in him, and I thought it was a lot of what's going around with the whole Giants personnel-wise. That was more the issue on the team, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong because Tommy DeVito looks really good, and it's so weird to see him winning with this team. But Dude, his agent is not real, bro. Not real. We got to get a
picture of him up here.
That looks like an Italian skit.
It's literally you cannot make it up. I've got buddies who are so freaking Italian who I went to school with, who I swear to God I've met Tommy DeVito before because he was hanging out with my buddy TJ from up in New Jersey. I swear to God I've met this dude before. It's the most New Jersey shit I've ever seen in my life. Not saying it's bad at all. It's just fucking hilarious how this is played out. And then you've got this guy who looks like he's straight out of a movie from the freaking Mob, who's Tommy DeVito's agent, making calls on the fucking field. He went out and bought that suit this week.
Oh, yeah.
Over under 4.5 days, he's owned that suit. Go ahead and lock in the under for $1 bazillion because he went out and bought himself something nice because he knew he's about to be on TV tonight. And he made sure he was nice and close to his client. Unbelievable. I think this shit's fucking hilarious because I got buddies up in Jersey and they're going freaking ballistic for this guy. Seeing the freaking crowd and the family doing the fucking Italian hand shit, whatever that is, everyone's kissing each other. I feel like I'm literally watching an Italian Mob movie, except it's NFL version. What is going on?
This looks like an
This is
Italian
insane.
Key and Peele skit. Everything that's happening. It's actually.
If he was on any other
hilarious.
team, even if he was on the Jets, it wouldn't be as good. But just knowing the fan base, knowing it's all the Jersey heads who are rooting for this squad, it's fucking hilarious. It's awesome.
It's
awesome. Even as a Commanders fan, it's fucking awesome to watch. I mean, these are the most Italian New Jersey people of all time, and the kid ends up on the fucking Jersey team, and he's balling. Story of the year.
Crazy.
Story of the year.
Crazy, dude. And I'm
if he
so
ends
happy.
up, continuing this, God forbid they win a couple more games. God forbid they win next week. This will be the craziest story of the NFL season. It's on the way. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, yeah. Tommy DeVito. Don't let him get hot. It might be too late. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's one story.
Cannot believe it, dude.
And I'm so glad the Packers looked like absolute shit and Jordan Love looked like shit because I am doing dirty things to the Packers next week.
W's. I'll be doing dirty things to the Bills next week. We'll talk about that here in a little bit when we go over playoffs.
I'm joining you on that too. Don't worry.
Why not?
Let's
go ahead and do the W recaps here. Squad ride smacked last night. Shout out Tommy Cutlett. Shout out, Danny DeVito, whatever the hell you want to call him. Giants +6 was free. Didn't even need the points. The Yale Bulldogs, they were not free. I can't believe they even won by 7 after watching that.
They had a little run in them. I thought they were going to do it.
Yeah, they looked great in the second half. They won the second half by 15, and they still didn't cover. That goes to show you how bad they looked. They had some foreign kid in the paint who had a career game for them at Yale. He's actually an absolute stud, but it wasn't enough. I cannot believe they didn't cover. Absolute travesty for the Yale Bulldogs. If they weren't down 7 at halftime, they would have. Brutal. Shitty bet. Gonzaga was never laying the 41.5. We'll take a Giants +6. We'll take a squad ride win, and we'll move. Javon, great call with that over in Tennessee, Miami. It was never in doubt. The Islanders got it done, and once again, it was never the Zags. But all that matters is that damn squad ride on the left sector there. We'll take a W and we'll move.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
Chad, I know you guys tailed Yale. I know I've been hot recently and did not live up to it last night. Started out the king of the board with it now. You knew that was coming after I tripped Javon. That was literally minus 1,000 to happen. I don't know why I didn't just fade my play and take both of his after I tripped him before week 3 of king of the board. But Javon, you came out firing, okay? You took that personally, all right? People are chirping, people are talking. Not really, but great start for the king of the board this week. Chat, stay posted, stay tapped in. These are pretty much our best bets, our PODs of the day. So don't forget about these. Don't sleep on. Okay, Legacy Night, sure. I freaking bet. W copy and paste goods.
Yeah, I wrote that out. I wrote that out, okay? For the record, I wrote that out.
W, reading the monitor, and then type it in. Love it. I deserve that one. That's a fact. No steam crabs today. The bets are still hitting overall, and the squad ride did too, so I'm not going to bitch yet. But if I lose my CBB plays today, there will surely be a steam crabs tomorrow. Let's pivot, Javon. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL before we dive into the plays for today. Not the best slate on earth, but there are enough, NBA and NHL plays and college. We'll have plenty of time to go through these, but nothing special. The slate isn't really, getting me juiced up today, but does not mean there aren't winners to be found. I do want to talk a little bit about this NFL MVP race with the betting odds here, Javon. Dak Prescott. He's had a pretty darn good run here the last couple of weeks. He's now +150, +160, depends where you look, to win the MVP awards. We knew that whoever won that Sunday Night Football game was probably going to end up being the betting favorites with Brock Purdy up there, come the end of that game, because, only one of the 2 QBs in the NFC East is really going to have a realistic chance at winning this award. And after Sunday Night Football, clear as day who it is. It's Dak Prescott having the best season of his career. You're starting to finally hear the chirps, silence about Dak Prescott, who gets roasted and chirped, I think maybe more than me, which I didn't even know was possible. But this guy deserves the flowers he's finally getting, Javon, and looks like the odds makers are on the same page here, with Dak being the betting favorite to win the MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has a chance to really control his own destiny in the MVP race. Like, I don't think they're winning both of these games, which next 2 weeks, obviously this week they're on the road in Buffalo, then they're on the road in Miami, which is a tough little 2-piece there. So I don't really know how it's going to shake out as far as the reaction odds-wise to if he gets smoked by the Bills this week, which I kind of think is going to happen. So, I think after this week it's going to be Brock Purdy, but after that it's anybody's game.
Okay. Yeah, all Dak has to do is not have a Jalen Hurts type game from Sunday Night Football. If he does, he'll still be in it. Sure, he might not be the betting favorite. I'm probably with you. Brock Purdy will probably take that over. But also worth
Goots.
noting that punch in a Lamar ticket and sit back. That might be Goots' burner. Goots, is that your burner that you logged into and pulled up on the screen? I think I just caught you red-handed.
Absolutely not. No.
Plead the fifth. It's worth noting that Tyreek Hill's odds on some books actually got shorter, Javon, after last night, which is pretty weird, considering he really didn't do shit and was hurt. But we're seeing, depending on the book you're looking at, and I'm sure, it's moving around and grooving and who knows where it's at these days, but kind of crazy to see his odds get shorter or at least not really move much after that performance last night, Javon. Maybe they're thinking a Tyreek Hill 200-plus yard game is, within reach in the next week or two if he can get out there and play. I don't know, but he's still in there.
I don't know. I thought if there's any, like, I didn't think he had a shot to win the MVP, and I still really don't, because it's a quarterback award. Like, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year in all likelihood. But if he had any shot to do it, I thought he had to have a massive game against the Titans, which are, they're obviously a mushit secondary. So, like, nobody would have stopped him if he was able to stay in the game healthy for the entire game, but he didn't get that opportunity, unfortunately. So
that's true.
I don't know that it's cooked at this point. Like, I think he could still gain some steam with a couple of good games, but we'll see.
Okay. Let's flip back to those MVP odds that are current right now on the Green Book, if we can, real quick. Goots, W's. Let's get some W's, Goots, in chat going. He's absolutely dialed in on this Tuesday morning. Javon, right now, the game plan, if you wanted to bet an MVP, would probably be wait until this coming week is over and then bet Dak Prescott at, +2 or +250, hopefully, and then ride it out. Is that the move?
I think that's the best value you would get realistically.
Right now.
Waiting to take Dak. Yeah, which it's projective. Like, we think the Bills are going to win, so we're rolling with that narrative. I think they're going to get dominated, which I think the number is going to get up decently high, kind of where Lamar is right now. So that's what I would do. I can't let this go by the wayside too. Surgical stream yesterday, potentially the worst pitch I have ever heard, the worst play I've ever heard. Somebody came and pitched CJ Stroud MVP at +5,000, which is now +8,000. Is that real? Is that like a real? Somebody actually came on and said that CJ Stroud should be the MVP. Not like timing wise too. Like, not only did he just
I heard it.
damage. I know you heard it. You were right there.
I heard it. Yeah.
He just damaged half of his brain. He's literally concussed and probably not going to play this week. And he had 90 yards against the Jets. So I don't know what signaled to that guy that, CJ Stroud MVP should be a good investment right now, or that he has an actual shot. But I couldn't look at the MVP odds without staring at CJ Stroud and saying, wow, there's a lot of rat shit pitches that came on the surgical stream in its history. That might be the worst. So I
that might have been number one.
Had to say that.
We might have to get a trophy, mate, and ship that puppy out.
Yeah.
Because that was the worst sell job in the history of sell jobs.
Yeah.
W expired milk.
Crazy.
Let them know. The book is out on CJ Stroud, folks. And you heard it here first from Javon. Okay. Yeah, that was the worst pitch of all time. Whether you guys think CJ Stroud is good or not in chat, I think we can all agree that was just hilariously ridiculous. And if our buddy here is watching, do not be ashamed. Okay. We want to see you run it back and come on and pitch another play. All right. Do not be embarrassed. Okay. Plenty of other games and angles and futures to give out that I would love to fade. Okay. So please come back up and pitch another play. It's that simple. Okay. You can probably put $1 on it. Hey, we don't need to shame dead Larry Bird. We don't need to shame around these parts. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're probably right. You're probably right there. There's probably a $5 wager. Okay. Let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving. We talked a little bit about MVPs here. The game plan should probably be wait this week out and see if you can get a little +2 hundo, maybe a little +250 action for Dak to sweat out the rest of the season. Although if your brain was ginormous and you have stones, you would have taken Dak a month ago at +2 racks. Wish we did when we started talking about it, but hindsight is 20/20. All right.
That it is.
Rumor has it Justin Herbert might be out for the season. People are talking about this.
Yeah.
See ya. What is going to happen with Justin Herbert and the Chargers after this year? I mean, I'm assuming they're going to have an all new, coaching staff here. I think Herbert is under contract for 2 more years, 3 more years?
I think 2.
And I'm looking that up right now, but he signed a 5-year fatty that's set to run through 2029.
Oh,
holy smokes. So it looks like Justin Herbert will probably be playing on a midship team for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years at least. They're going to have a completely new coaching staff coming in. It can't be worse than what the heck they had going on out there running that team for the last few seasons. I saw that the Chargers actually cashed their win total under for the 5th year in a row, Javon, this season, which just goes to show you this is not a fluke. This is talent year in, year out on this roster that should be, competing and playing and performing better and putting up better results than what we've seen from the Chargers over the last half a decade. What a joke. Everybody involved should probably be demoted or fired from this organization.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up.
So,
Ownership is atrocious.
Definitely made their investment on Herbert. So let's get him a new coaching staff and get him, new weapons. I guess, Easton Stick made Quentin Johnston look good. So clearly it's not all the weapons, but let's get all the excuses out of the way. Let's get him a new coaching staff. Let's get him, 17 wide receivers. Keenan Allen sucks and Austin Eckler sucks apparently. So let's give him a whole new revamped system there.
To be honest with you, dude, like the thing that I can't get over, which probably isn't even the craziest part of the Chargers debacle, I guess you could call it, is how shitty their defense is, man. And sure, they'll show up once a month and have a good defensive performance out of nowhere and surprise some people and hang in there and play well. But this team and that roster and the amount of money they're being paid should be performing well 3 out of 4 weeks every month. And they should be winning them games at times because of some of those names on that team. It's hilarious. It's a joke. The Commanders, I would say, is a better organization right now than the Chargers, which I didn't think I'd ever say.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's close. It's close.
Yeah. I don't know, how the Chargers keep, swinging and missing, investing in their defense. It's almost, impressive. Because, it's not like they don't try. It's just that every signing is awful. None of it never ends up panning out. They just make every wrong move in free agency, signing somebody on defense. So, clearly, something's got to change there.
Something's got to give, folks. As Ron Muck's clan gives out a sub bang to the community, let's fucking go, Ron. You dog. And we got Lenny giving out a subby as well. Let's fucking go, Ron and Len. Ron and Len, literally the two goats. Okay. Michael Jordan and LeBron James. We got a Degenerate coming in, 53 piece. Hold the fry, folks. We got DM marked 123 sub banging as well. Vibes are up on this Tuesday afternoon, folks. Let's keep pushing. I want to talk a little bit about NFL odds to make the playoffs, Javon, and look at the playoff picture real quick before we dive into some college basketball. Okay, let's take a peep. After the Monday Night Football games last night, we have a little bit of a better picture of the playoff race right now. So let's take a peep at the projected playoff bracket right now. Looks like we've got Browns and Jags, Steelers, Chiefs, Colts, Dolphins. On the NFC, we've got Eagles, Tampa, sure. We've got the Vikings and the Lions, and then the Packers and the Cowboys. Little Mike McCarthy revenge angle right there. We probably know that this is not going to be solidified or the exact same, come 4 weeks, but pretty good idea here as we hit the home stretch for the NFL season. Crazy how fast it's flown by. Javon, any takes, any, thoughts that pop up into your head looking at this chart right now?
The Bucs are not making the playoffs.
Okay,
that's my thoughts. Which they were hanging. I was looking at this because I was going to pull it up, but they took the bet down on the green book. But really weird price that I saw was they had one of those head-to-head win matchups, and it was the Falcons to have more wins than the Bucs. The Falcons were minus 165, which I thought was interesting. The Falcons definitely have a easier schedule than the Bucs, you could say, because the Bucs still have to play the Packers and the Jags the next 2 weeks. They're not winning either of those games, to be perfectly clear. Now they're going to be competitive in either of those games. But I still stand on the fact that if that team in the green, which is it's a task in itself because they have a much easier schedule than the Cowboys the rest of the season, if that team in the green is going to Atlanta in the wild card round, the Falcons are going to get to the Niners. That's such the whole NFC is so matchup dependent this year, which it could shake out a really a multitude of ways. So really that whole wild card situation, whether it's the Bucs or the Falcons, could really decide anything. And that's absolutely insane to say. But yeah, if there's anything I'm taking away from this is that the Bucs and Falcons hold the key to the NFC.
So crazy. It's absolutely bonkers. It's
Yeah,
crazy that the Bucs are even in that graphic.
If there's a line to take for the Bucs to miss the playoffs, I need to find it because they ain't making the playoffs.
We might need to do some research and some digging after BTL today and find that. I'm sure it's around floating somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
As a Birds fan, Arthur Smith, we ain't getting nowhere.
The thing is,
Okay.
it's not that the Falcons are good enough to get there and beat the Eagles. It's like that their matchups the rest of the season are good for them. So, like, even if they slip up, they have room to slip up. And then if they get into a game with the Eagles, their play style is so perfectly odd that it's a great matchup against the Eagles. Like the Bucks really can't hang with them because they're just going to get pushed around. The Falcons don't get pushed around. It's like even if they're not polished offensively and Ritter's not polished offensively, which is the biggest question in that game, they can hold their own, like on the front seven. And obviously, if you're looking for a secondary that Desmond Ridder can throw, 350 yards against, like he just did against the Bucks this past week, the Eagles, by the numbers, are worse. So they can have fun with that. 130 to miss the playoffs. There you go.
Blue Book minus 130. They're a favorite
to
miss the playoffs right now, and that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay. They should be.
And it's going to be minus 300 in 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. I'm down to ride that, honestly, with you, because I think the Falcons are a team of destiny this season. And although personally, biasly, I think they'd be better with Taylor Heineke. There's no actual football reasoning behind that. And Desmond Ridder is coming off a pretty solid game where he made some plays happen and looked pretty good. So I'm with you. I think that Falcons defense can make some shit weird as well with some of their weird looks they would give Philly in that spot. But we'll see who ends up where, right?
Yeah. What do you think about this bottom, or I guess the bottom two matchups in the NFC, which I guess you could say the Eagles might be a part of that, but you think anybody's sneaking in between the Packers or taking the Packers/Vikings spot?
So let's take a peep at the odds. I know the Book It account had a fire tweet earlier that we can pull up here and take a peep. Yep, sure. Odds to make the playoffs. These are for the fringe teams. So as of right now, the Packers do have the last spot, and they are, generally the same odds as Minnesota there. It probably depends on what book you look at, but, they're both barely plus chick here. Right now, the Packers do have the 7 seed, I think, with some tiebreakers over the Rams, Seahawks, Falcons, and Saints. There's so many fucking teams who are, right there in the action. I don't see why a sprinkle on Atlanta plus 142 wouldn't be worth our time. I feel like that'd be honestly a better bet than just taking the fucking Bucks to miss the playoffs, Javon, if that's the angle we're going with.
I was kind of about to bring that up because they all have the same record between the Packers, Vikings, Rams, or not Vikings, but Packers, Rams, and then Seahawks are right there, Falcons are right there, Saints are right there. So that last spot, as insane as it is to say, the NFC South has a very real possibility to get 2 teams in the playoff, which I think the Bucks are going to miss the playoff. The Saints are obviously still in it, but the fact that that's a possibility is crazy. Like, I think the Packers take a pretty big step this week and getting up to 7-6. But I think the Falcons do too. And the Falcons have a mooshit schedule coming up. So I think regardless of what happens, they're going to be in the conversation. Who knows what's going to happen with the Vikings and Nick Mullins. The Rams are playing good football right now, but they have a objectively tougher schedule than I guess the rest of them, depending on what happens. There's obviously there's a big game, Saints and Rams next week, which is big in that race. And then they play the 49ers last week of the season, which if they're not in the situation to rest starters with a first round bye, that gets really tough for the Rams too. So it's going to be a weird race for that last spot.
And Atlanta does have a tiebreaker over the Saints. That's probably why their odds are just a tad shorter than the Saints. Yeah. I mean, Javon, just by looking at these odds and looking at the standings right now, it's screaming Falcons to me. Right now, they're in the 10 hole in the NFC. Just by looking at the standings, they're not even, the only tiebreaker they have an edge over is literally the Saints. Other than that, though, they're towards the bottom, and all these other teams, have advantages over them as of right now. It's interesting to see their odds only at plus 142. And again, depends on where you look, but either way, whether it's off by a couple cents or not on different books, that's still a little short to me. So I'm with you, Javon. I think it could be the Falcons' year. Nobody wants to take them. Nobody wants to back Desmond Ridder to make the fucking playoffs. Are you kidding me? But if they keep getting Bijan involved in both the passing and the rushing game, and if that defense continues to do what they've been doing and that's overperform, I don't see why that team couldn't shock the world and sneak their way in there. They don't have the best roster out of these squads, but some could say they have a pretty darn good cohesive unit. That might matter more than just talent up to this point, because look at the Saints. I mean, they got way more talent than the Falcons, but they're an absolute shit show. If that hasn't become clear, how important it is to be a cohesive unit and a great team and be run well and have good coaches and good energy, go look at what Montez Sweat said the other day. I think it was yesterday. God damn, this could have been the steam crabs. But you know what, Javon? Montez Sweat pretty much set the record straight. And they asked him the other day, they said, hey, man, like, what's the difference between playing here and playing in Washington? And pretty much is what they asked him. And he pretty much said, yeah, in Washington, they didn't give a shit. They were just waiting for the season to be over. And here in Chicago, it's a new challenge every week. And I'm looking forward to it. And we're continuing to get better and improving and showing effort. And that literally ripped my heart out of my fucking chest when I heard that, because the Bears just outclassed us.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's tough. Okay. And this is not going to be a Commander's rant anymore, but Jesus, you're in a bad spot when the Bears are making you look bad. Right.
Yeah.
That is concerning. Okay. And I hope Josh isn't watching this right now, but we can all agree the Bears are not very well run either. And they're making the Commanders look like a fucking joke.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah. So I think it's Falcons here. And I honestly think that's a better bet than just taking, Tampa Bay at minus money to miss the playoffs.
I agree. You're talking me into that one for sure.
Good.
You know what else seems kind of interesting? What about a Vikings to miss the playoffs?
Ooh, chat. Do your due diligence, do your research. If we can get some odds for the Vikings to miss the playoffs, be very curious. I'm assuming they're somewhere between, minus 120 and minus 140. Very curious to see what those odds are, though. I don't hate it.
To be honest with you, like looking at these live odds for them to make the playoffs, it seems decently short, which Matt's not too happy in chat, but they have a tough schedule over the next like 4 weeks, which they're 3 in division games. Like first they're going to Cincinnati this week. Who the hell knows what that Cincinnati team is right now with Jake Browning? It's a wild card. They could come out looking like, I don't know, the greatest offense of all time again, and Jake Browning could be Joe Montana, or they could flop and it could be the game that everything comes crashing down, like Josh Dobbs has had a couple of times now. But the quarterback situation, whether it's going to be Mullins, I think Jaron Hall, it seems like from what they're talking about, is going to be back in the fold at some point. But a trip to Cincy, they have 2 games against the Lions the week after that, and then last week of the season, and then they play the Packers at home on Sunday Night Football in between that. So, I mean, that's 3 in-division games with the Bengals obviously on deck this week. That's a tough road, and they have they're a game up on kind of the rest of the pack there. But I don't really love the Lions right now. They're not playing good football, but I think that's a split at worst for the Lions between those 2 games. So you're really banking on the rest of the teams, and then, I don't know, something to happen this week with the Bengals.
Well, that Minnesota spread is already down from 5 to 3.5, my man. So maybe they are the play this week. And I'll be honest with you, like it's been a little too good in Cincy recently. Like I'll probably be on Minnesota and the points, unfortunately. I definitely lean that way as of right now. But, I mean, there's some leeway there with a low total too. So who knows? Maybe they'll lose by 1 or 2. But looks like the Blue Book is a little bit fatter of a favorite for Minnesota to miss the playoffs here. Or sorry, to make the playoffs. Minus 180. The Blue Book has it at Javon. Does that make you feel anything or change your opinions?
Not really. I mean, that kind of would be what I would assume it should be with them up a game on everybody else.
Yes.
And yes, it is Richfield. So I don't know. Not really sure what to make of that team. I guess this week is going to be massive because I'm kind of with you. I don't love fading them this week, but I also just have no clue what the Bengals are going to do.
Yeah, that line is kind of fact. Maybe the Vikings will pull off an upset against the Bengals this week. At least that's what it looks like FanDuel's maybe banking on. Okay. Or sorry, Blue Book. No free odds.
Blue Book.
W's. All right. Can we go to the AFC?
Let's go to the
odds?
AFC.
Let's go to the AFC odds for these sleepers. Yeah, go ahead and give me the fucking Bills. I don't care if I don't have any CLV. It's a fucking winner. The Bills are making the playoffs, Javon, and I want in. And I'm going to grab them at the worst odds they've been at in the last month. I don't give a shit. Give me the Bills. If there's plus money, if there's a plus sign in front of them, I'm willing to take them.
Yeah, I have no argument for that. No argument. They're just playing great football right now, and they're going to be in a great spot
football
this week.
Yeah, and they're going to beat Dallas, who, by the way, Dallas is plus 2.5 this week after absolutely skull fucking the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the history of the NFL on Sunday Night Football. So kind of weird to see the Cowboys at plus chick here. I guess not that weird if you actually know ball and scenarios and know that the Bills are going to win this game. So sure, they should be a favorite, but if you just don't know football or you don't know betting, you're probably like, what the fuck? Dallas is, just dethroned the Eagles, and now they're moving to +2.5 here from +1.5. So great sign there for the Bills. It's got to be the Bills Mafia as they continue to win games and sneak their way into the playoffs like they're about to.
Yeah, they're set
Any
up
other
very
long
well.
shots here, Javon, that you're looking at?
I mean, I don't.
I guess
want
there's not as many teams in the race here in the AFC as the
There's
NFC is.
there's
There's not
just
as many
about as much.
tiebreakers.
There's just about as much. I'll
Yeah.
take a flyer on the Colts.
Ooh.
I would do. Partially because who's leading that division currently and who is the most corporate division winner, and now there's Trevor Lawrence injury kind of making everything super weird, and they rushed him back, and he wasn't 100%, and the offense struggled against a really good defense in a really tough spot, I will say, but I don't think they're winning the division. It's like I think the Colts to win the division is a solid value bet at this point, but you can take them and make the playoffs. Obviously, a massive game this week up against the Steelers on that. I think it's a Saturday matinee game. So I think the Colts come out. They have a pretty soft schedule. I don't know what the deal is going to be long term with CJ Stroud. We'll see how it plays out in the next week or so, because I assume he's not going to play this week. It's probably going to be Mills Mafia. But at that point, that team just might be dead. So the Colts team who gets to play the Steelers this week at home. They go to Atlanta, which is a tough spot. We'll see what happens there. It's a coin flip game. Then they're going to get to play a Raiders team who might be dead. Probably is going to be dead by that point. And then a big matchup against the Texans at home to finish the season. So that's a favorable schedule. I'd be saying I'd be lying if I was saying I love Gardner Minshew, but Colts team just finds ways to win in a lot of these games. It's they're the team that I would take up there.
I like Gardner Minshew. I don't think he's going to go win a Super Bowl, but I like his moxie. I like his heart. I like that he doesn't fucking slide. He's literally a human bowling ball, and the fact that guy hasn't gotten seriously injured or concussed, it baffles me. Knock on wood. God, I hope I didn't fucking jinx him. But unbelievable moxie and effort from our guy there up in Indy. The backup doing a pretty good job taking over for Richardson, who also does not know how to slide. I'll tell you what, if you guys are wondering why the Steelers are +210 here when they're in the 6th seed as of right now, it's because they're +2.5 this weekend without Kenny Pickett on the road at Indianapolis, and the Colts are probably going to get a big-time win there and slide ahead of Pittsburgh and slide them down the list. There are right now 6 teams who are 7-6 right now, fighting out for the last 2 spots in the playoff picture for the 6th and 7th seed, although you can't really officially lock in the Browns, Jags either. You can lock in the Chiefs. I don't care that they have 5 losses already. They will be in the fucking playoffs. But you really can't lock in anybody from the fucking 4 hole all the way down to the 7 in the AFC. Although, personally, I see the Browns making it in with that defense. They'll get it done. They'll find a way. Joe Flacco, I'm not saying I want to bet them this coming week after he had the greatest performance since the Super Bowl, but I do believe in that defense, and I think Myles Garrett will find his way in the playoffs this season, even without Deshaun Watson. Their offense just really doesn't fucking matter to me. They'll find their way in. I think the Colts could find their way in as well. It's probably a good sign that they're one of the shorter odds to get in. They might not be the flashiest team there out of all those squads. And I think it's a little telling that those teams are ahead of the Broncos, right? The Broncos are kind of a public favorite here. I feel like they've been playing good football recently overall. And a lot of people in chat were talking about the Broncos potentially making it. I think if the Broncos were going to make it, I think their odds would be a little bit closer to where the Colts and Houston are personally. So not loving Russ. I think they'll probably fade off here towards the end of the season and maybe miss the playoffs by a game. That'd be hilarious to watch Sean Payton. And that happened to that squad after he roasted Nathaniel Hackett for being the worst coach ever and then saw them beat him. And then that turned around their season, but they're probably going to still fall short. Give me the Colts for a sprink. And it's probably pretty telling that the Broncos and Pittsburgh are that far down on that list. All right.
Yeah, it's a little odd. A little odd.
Obvious.
That. And go back to the bracket goods. So I think it's interesting if the Browns can work their way into that 4 spot somehow, some way. I don't think
if they can get home field.
I don't think it's going to happen, but obviously. But
I think they'll win that game anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they win that game anyways. I don't think it matters if they're playing on the fucking moon.
If by the grace of God they get to play a playoff game at home, I mean, that defense would turn into the 86 Bears.
Yeah, they will be a favorite in that game against the Jags if they're home. Without a doubt.
Should.
Yeah.
Can't really happen,
Okay.
but I don't know. That would be such an interesting scenario.
All right. W's, any other comments, any other, takes or bets on playoff futures?
Man, that the Dolphins scare me right now. And it's not really just because they lost the game last night, but their whole team also got injured last night. So if we don't see under the long track of a couple weeks leading out to the playoffs, them get healthy and then they play a really physical team, it could very easily be the Browns that they end up playing, whether it's on the road or whatever it may be. That's a tough defense for a team that's not at full strength, and you've already seen the capability of them struggling against teams like that. I'd be concerned if I was the Dolphins. Honestly, before this week, maybe before last week a little bit too, I was kind of starting to come around as they would be the team to make the surprise run or the new run. I guess you can't really call it a surprise, but I was kind of buying into the Dolphins. Say that. But now, with a lot of these injuries seeming like they're going to be looming into the playoffs, that 7 seed is looking like a very enticing upset spot for somebody. So I'm kind of out on the Dolphins right now until they put it together for a couple weeks. If they put it together for a couple weeks and look really, really good. So if that ends up being the Bills too. Whew.
They do all that work, they sneak into the playoffs, and then they lose round 1?
Well, they'd be playing for the second week in a row because they play the final week of the regular season. So,
that's crazy.
So whoever
loses that first game, we just back in the next game, literally.
If it's the Bills and they get to play them a second time in a row, I don't know the Dolphins are winning that game. I don't know if they are.
Why are the Eagles a 5 seed? Somebody tell this guy to watch an Eagles game this season. Somebody make this guy sit down and watch the Philadelphia Eagles play a football game. There are still muvs out there who think that team is good, and it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I mean, Javon, the Cowboys might as well have been playing the Commanders on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, defense is bad. So let's see who they get. Let's see who they get. I'll tell you.
You guys are so silly. Recency bias, you're wild, and they've looked like shit literally every single game this season.
They're the Vikings.
If you went through every single one of their wins, there'd be some sort of fluke shit, and they got lucky, straight up. But they do have an easy schedule the rest of the year. So we'll see what they can do and bounce back. Hey, I said it jokingly on Sunday. Now we might have to switch to hating the fucking Cowboys because you're going to see the Cowboys getting slurped like no other for the rest of the season, and the Eagles are going to be people are going to be acting like they're dog meat. So it might not be too late to pivot, folks. All right, keep that in mind.
The Eagles do not want to see the 49ers in San Fran. So they're not that they wouldn't be trying to win the division very obviously so they can get home field, but
they know they're fucked if they end up in that spot.
They're fucked if they have to go to San Francisco. So good luck there. They're going to try.
You might see them actually run with Jalen Hurts and use him like they did last season for once down the stretch.
Yeah,
you already saw them run with him more last on Sunday night.
This week is everything. Is everything. They're going to Seattle. Seems like a very popular get right narrative on Monday Night Football, depending on who's going to be quarterback for the Seahawks in that game. If it is Geno, dare I say it's 3 in a row for the Eagles.
Sheesh. That would be nuts. That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw that Seattle offense shine against the Cowboys. Why not do it against the Eagles?
Yeah, after getting pumped with Drew Lock, which really they didn't get pumped. It was a much more competitive game than it probably should have been. Which shout out any late Seattle backers there. Those little 14 lines have always been falling somewhere there for the most part outside of last night. But yeah, the Seahawks team. Everybody declared them bad after the Cowboys beat them, so it could fit the narrative that the Cowboys only beat good teams. They're still a decent team. So, at home on Monday Night Football, I think it's Monday night, they'll give the Eagles a run.
Somebody was asking why aren't the Bills in here? The Bills aren't in here because right now they're not in the playoffs. So, they still got some work to do. They are in the 11 hole. As of right now, they're going to need to get bumped up to the 7 hole if they want to be dancing. Okay.
The line's +4.
Wow. Geno's got to be playing them.
Yeah. I saw it open at 8.5 maybe at some point. Maybe that was the look ahead with Drew Lock. But yeah, if it's 4.
Yeah. I mean, that'll tell you right there who's playing. Guys,
Yep.
I mean, that's one of the fucking gambling 10 commandments. Okay. If you're confused on or don't know if somebody's going to be playing, especially a big name guy, just look at the freaking spread and use your brain. That'll tell you right now that Gino's playing. They probably already know it. Guaranteed. He'll be out there. Might not play well. Let's hope he does, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
who knows?
3.5 on the blue book. Sure. Is there any chance the Browns win the North? And Gaucho, 6'9", right there in front of the VT sign at Tots. Gaucho, I've been there a time or two.
Dude,
Fun
the
spot.
Browns, they're not dead to win that division.
Ron, come on.
They're not dead to win that
Joe
division.
Flacco is a double agent. He's going to, at some point, screw the Browns to help the Ravens. You just know
The
it.
Browns or the Ravens. The Ravens have been fantastic, and I'm not arguing that. But to end the season, they go this week to Jacksonville on Sunday night. They go to San Francisco on Monday night.
Yeah.
They're going to play the Dolphins at home when the Dolphins are going to be very desperate. And then they have an interdivision game against the Steelers to wrap it up. That is a gauntlet of a schedule.
Sounds like 4-0 to me.
Yeah, I can tell you they ain't going 4-0 in that stretch. I think that's 2-2 probably at best. For
Come
them.
back to me when that happens.
Yeah, I'll be seeing Goods. But yeah, the Browns they finish up with the Bears this week, and they're at home. They go to the Texans, which maybe that's first week back with CJ Stroud. Who knows at this point? Play the Jets on Thursday night. They play the Bengals. Like the Browns, they're not like incredibly dead. Like it's still in the realm of possibility. Do I think they're going to do it? No, probably not. But it's not crazy to say that they're there.
And who's got the tiebreaker between the Browns and the Ravens? I know the Browns beat them at least once.
The Browns beat them once, yeah.
And they haven't played the second game yet?
Yeah.
No, the Ravens beat them the first game with DTR,
they
right?
beat them the first game, so it's tied. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, who has a tiebreaker?
Who's got the tiebreaker between the Browns and the Ravens?
I'm not sure. I'm really worried. I'm not sure. I am really worried.
I wouldn't be worried right this second either, Goods. But after
they're both 6-3. They're both 6-3 in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
So if it ends up coming to a tiebreaker, it's probably going to be the Browns if that's needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean it's not crazy to say.
I mean, we won the Super Bowl wild card years ago. We can do it again.
Yeah,
100%. Sometimes it's better to be entering as a wild card. Goods, if you can, real quick, pull up the odds to win that division on the Green Book potentially if they have them up. No rush. Just curious to see what they're at. Awesome. And then we'll wrap this up, chats, and we'll dive into some of the plays for today. But I think we can all agree talking through some of this playoff stuff is pretty interesting and has brought us some pretty good angles, not only for just this weekend betting-wise, but down the stretch. Okay, so keep all this in mind as you're locking in your bets for the next couple of weeks because the books are not in business for losing money, and some of these odds are a little telling for futures. Okay, they are minus 1,000, dude.
Ravens to win that division. I mean, yeah, it's not a terrible sprinkle. Do I think it's going to happen? Realistically, probably not. But I think it's a lot less crazy than that price indicates.
Okay. All right. Well, I like the spot for the Browns this weekend, even after the Joe Flacco masterclass. We're seeing them laying 3.5. The Bears, who have looked much better recently too, Javon. So I'll probably be on the Browns again this weekend, looking at this spread. And I'm hoping it gets up to 4. That would be elite. Either way, though, I'm definitely leaning the Browns. I think the Bears might run into some trouble here in Fields, who's been playing really well recently, hasn't put a defense like the Browns on the road yet.
To answer this question on the screen, I'd be terrified facing Joe Flacco. Terrified.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Yeah, it'd have to be.
People forget Flacco didn't sign my jersey at the rookie minicamp because it was a Todd Heap jersey and it wasn't his.
People do forget that.
A damn story.
Like, bro, did they even make Joe Flacco jerseys yet at that point? The guy was a rookie from Delaware. Like, did they even have those printed yet? That guy, he's got an ego, but he backed it up. He's got a ring. He can shit talk kids as much as he wants when he win a ring. Okay? God, that fucked me up for a week, man. Joe Flacco lives beachfront in my head still, and that was probably 15 years ago. All right, let's dive into some college basketball for today, huh? Why not us?
Yep.
You down? Any locks in LIU and UMass Lowell?
Absolutely not.
Okay, we move. Let's get a Hofstra. Let's talk about that game, Javon, because that one caught my eye at least. and I think it interests you as well. This
It
Duke
does.
team has been interesting. I think would be a good word to describe them so far this season. And they are playing at home tonight, which is huge for them. We know they've had struggles on the road the last year and a half without Coach K and with an overall youngish team. But they're going to have their hands full tonight with this Hofstra team coming into town after a loss outright when they were -5 at St. Louis, Javon. So they're going to be coming in hungry, looking to rebound after a loss in a game that they should have won. And Duke, on the other hand, they had a nice little bounce back game against Charlotte in their last contest, but they have still lost 2 of their last 3. And I wouldn't say they're playing their best basketball right now or at their most confident. I think this is just simply too many points. I think the public is back in a Duke bounce back here after that Charlotte win. Guys, Charlotte, that team is completely depleted. They are no bueno. Duke should have beaten that team by more, in my opinion. And I like this Hofstra team. Hofstra might have one of the better players, not going to say the best player on the floor, but one of the better players on the court tonight in Tyler Thomas. If you guys don't know this kid, he transferred in from Sam Houston State. Can't make it up. Where he played, I think, 3 years there, and he's been at Hofstra the last 2 seasons, including this year. This kid's unbelievable. He's averaging almost 24 points a game. He's 5th in scoring this year in college basketball, Javon. If you guys haven't seen Tyler Thomas play, check him out tonight against Duke. Not saying he's better than Filipowski. Sure as hell isn't. Definitely not a better NBA prospect, but I'm telling you, this kid can hang, and he's going to carry this Hofstra offense. It might make Duke a little uncomfortable. They could score some points.
They can score, and the one thing is, like, they can shoot the 3, which is impressive, and they are coming off of one of their poorest games of the season, shooting the ball from 3. And Duke, they've played a lot of teams, frankly, that can't shoot. So, like, they've given up plenty of open looks. If people have watched any of their games, especially, I mean, most of the time when they've been on, like, these neutral courts between Michigan State, I guess you could even throw, like, the game on the road with Arkansas in there. That was a real problem too. They give up plenty of looks, open looks from 3. They've just been playing teams they can't shoot. So, like, their numbers and their 3-point defense looks a little better than it realistically is. And now you're probably going to be missing a key perimeter defender there as well. So Hofstra's going to give them problems. And I like that you have guys that have been in situations like this before. Like, they're a pretty veteran-laden team between Thomas. Dubar has been there too, and he's a guy who can strap it up from 3 too. Like, I think they're going to be scrappy in this game, and a lot of it's going to come offensively. Like, I think I like points in this game too, and we'll see how Duke kind of reacts. This is a pretty big spot for Duke, which you can't really say much against a team like Hofstra, but they need a big performance tonight before they host Duke in a couple of days. I think early next week. So we'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah. Duke is not fast. I wouldn't say they're one of the slower teams in basketball, but they're in the 200s, 250s in possessions per game. They're not really out looking to run. Hofstra, isn't a top 100 team in tempo or possessions per game, but they're definitely a little bit of a quicker team, and they're definitely a little bit smaller overall. Not that Duke is ginormous, but this team, I mean, if you're looking at their stats this season, the guys who get the most burn on this squads, they're all guards. They've got one forward who has the 6th most minutes per game, who is pretty much their anchor in the paint, who is 6'11", and he should be able to do enough in the paint. I'm not really worried about Duke's size, to be honest with you, but might even give Hofstra an advantage today if they're small and able to run a little bit and hit some threes before Duke's able to get into defensive position tonight.
Especially
if Hofstra can get down and shoot the 3, they might win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think – usually I'd be a little worried because, I mean, Tyrese Proctor is one of the best perimeter defenders in college basketball, and he's probably not going to be in the fold, which is huge for Tyler Thomas because I assume he's going to be catching or would be catching a majority of Proctor on the perimeter. So if Tyler Thomas, if they just let him shoot open look after open look, which I'm not stupid enough to think that Coach K is not going to scheme something – or not Coach K, but the Duke is not going to scheme something to get him covered a little bit. But I think he has a field day, which is huge. I think that's how they're going to be able to stay in this game. I don't know if they'll have to be so physical on the inside, which is the difference.
They might not need to. Okay.
I love that
they had Duke is missing a big rebounder, big time.
Yeah, I love that they had their get right spot already too after the Georgia Tech upset against Charlotte.
Yeah.
Plus, you know what happened in that game? Charlotte shot 4 of 20 from 3 because they can't shoot either. Hofstra can shoot.
Yes, they can. And they're coming off a bad game. Love the spot on the road here.
They're going to light up.
How many points? Yep. I'm telling you guys, they might win this game outright. Straight up. Hofstra can score and keep up with anybody. Okay, be careful. They might win this game outright. No Duke ML grease paces and no Duke live bets. All right, chat, put that in your brains right now.
I do.
Right.
If we're talking about massive dogs winning outright, you want to hear one I got for you?
Uh-huh.
Arkansas Pine Bluff
Dude.
against
What do you
USF.
like? What do you like about ARPB and Jack?
Well, first of all, I've seen the story with USF time and time again. Like I pay attention to them. I'm not like a USF fan, but they're from the city, from Tampa. So we pay attention to them, and they have these spots all the time in non-conference play where like the last couple of years they've played really well for whatever reason, both at home and on the road against Auburn. And those are sandwiched in between losses to UMass both years, which I guess was this year and last year. Losses to UMass, losses to a lot of these shitty teams, especially the ones who can shoot because their perimeter defense is horrendous. Like Pine Bluff, they're going to push the tempo. They're going to shoot. They're going to put up their shots, which is why we see a total of 161.5 in this game. So they had a couple. This is one of the weirdest stretches I think I've ever seen, very USF-like. Have you seen their last handful of games? Because it is absolutely hilarious to look at. I mean, it's why we love college basketball, but it's hilarious. I mean, those are three games you can't make up. Before they lost by double digits to Maine at home. They lost by 20 points to Hofstra on the road. Stayed on the road and lost by double digits to UMass. And then what did they do to wrap it all up? They came to this little neutral site game in the Florida Panthers arena in Sunrise, and they dominated FSU, which is crazy, and put up 90 points in that game almost. So this is a perfect little fade them spot because they're realistically back to normal. Like FSU, I don't know what happened in that game, why they dominated that game so much. I mean, they shot well from three, which is not really a thing they do pretty consistently. They got 32 free throws in this game. And yes, this is a game that it feels like USF loses. It's a massive letdown spot in non-conference. So I am not just saying that. I have units on the ML, and I'm taking certainly the 17.5 points.
And I'm tailing G unit. ARPB and J system play chat. Book it.
Yeah.
All right. W's. Love it. Let's keep moving to grooving. What else we got? VMI and Radford, little in-state rivalry. I'm good on that one. That's a fat spread though. Radford probably wins and rolls. Any takes on CELA and Louisiana Tech? Another in-state rivalry game.
That's an interesting game. I mean, CELA has been getting pumped by a couple of teams. Like they hung in with LSU for a little bit on the road, which is impressive, but they just got 25 piece by Southern, which I strongly considered taking CELA in that game, and I'm very glad that I didn't. But this team is not very good outside of that little performance there. So, I mean, they've also been god-awful on the road. So to see this line moving from, 14.5 to 13.5 is pretty interesting for a team that's been overall really solid and should dominate in pretty much every phase of the game, especially at home. And they also, I think they won by 9 and handed McNeese a loss on the road as well. Or McNeese was on the road at Louisiana Tech. So like McNeese is the best team in the Southland. And there's levels. So they're going to dominate CELA in conference. So to see that line kind of hanging around that same-ish deficit is interesting. I'll say that.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first from the CELA and Southland expert chat. Javon is locked. All right. A lot of people in chat, a lot of sharps in chat talking about Wright State today.
Dude, Wright State is Twitter POD today, man.
Yeah, that's why I kept him out of my best bets. Not saying I want to fade him. Definitely not going to fade him. If anything, I still might take him. But Wright State's interesting spread here, in my opinion. But if you look over at our friends at Ken Palms, you'll see that Wright State still ranked ahead of Western Kentucky. So it's not that weird to see them as a favorite here, especially at home. But to be fair, Wright State just got absolutely shellacked. Not shellacked, but 10-point loss to Davidson in their last contest. Western Kentucky, on the other hand, coming in off of 3 straight wins. 2 pretty impressive wins in their last 2 games, honestly, where they won against Eastern Kentucky by 10. That's a tough team to play. They're always competitive. And then they destroyed Buffalo on the road in Buffalo when they were -7, winning 82-65. Western Kentucky might have that bigger name brand, I feel like, and bigger name feel. More public of a name in school. I think more just from football. Honestly, nobody wants to fucking back Wright State, especially with the 4-5 records. But with that being said, Ken Palm still has Wright State, with way more respect and just as a better squad. This team has been in the postseason in recent years. They play in maybe a little bit of a better conference. Overall, their program is just better than Western Kentucky, and they're in a better spot. So I don't think it's the weirdest thing ever to see this team, as a favorite here at home. But that juice is loose on Wright State on that spread, and Trey Calvin is the best player on the court tonight, and he's averaging almost 22 points per game at this point. I think he's top 20 in scoring in college basketball. The fifth-year senior, he's been there forever. He's finishing his job there at Wright State. Got to respect it for staying there for 5 years. He'll be the best player on the court, and I definitely lean Wright State. But Javon, like you said, everybody's on.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. So
Yep.
I get the spot. I'm definitely not taking Western Kentucky, but I'll let the whole world handle that one.
Sure. And he takes on Alcorn State, Maryland, or UMBC St. Pate's.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not for me.
Yep. Lean Maryland to cover that fat spread, but not going to bet it. Nothing in that North Carolina A&T game. Thought about maybe targeting the 0-9, I believe. North Carolina A&T 0-8 team against North Carolina Central, but North Carolina A&T has actually had really good success against North Carolina Central in recent years. So I'm good. I'll stay off that. Any Tennessee plays?
No Tennessee plays for me.
Yeah. What about Sam Houston's?
You want to take Sam Houston?
Spike fade.
Could be a spike fade.
Spreads down from 10 to 8.5 in this game, I believe. Spread's moving.
Grooving.
So, yeah, 10.5 to 8.5. I'm good on that game though. Austin Peay, Southern Illinois, the Salukis. I lean the under in that game. I think the Salukis suffocate Austin Peay, and Austin Peay can't even really score anyways, and both those teams are pretty slow. I lean IUPUI against Minnesota. IUPUI has the second worst ATS this season in college basketball. It's not even really the IUPUI unders anymore. It's just been fading IUPUI this season. But I like them today against Minnesota, who has the second best ATS record in college basketball, only one loss ATS. Just a nasty line play. I'm just going to back IUPUI as a lean here against Minnesota, who's been playing out of their minds recently. That's still not a coach and a program that I personally really believe in.
Yeah, I can go with that. I'll hate that.
Okay. UNI and Prairie View. Definitely lean UNI there at home. And that slew of, pretty relatively consistent sophomores and juniors to get it done at home. Coppin State versus Georgetown. I lean Georgetown, but I don't want to lay it. It's too square. Any plays in those two?
No, none for me there. I do like this over in Lubbock, though.
Oh, or Roberts, Texas Tech. Talk about it.
I've been randomly attracted to a couple of Texas Tech overs this year, but they've been doing pretty well. But first of all, when Oral Roberts, I know it's quite obviously a different team than the Max Avemus days, but whenever they go on the road against a Big 12 team, I don't know what it is. They just find offense. They've already done it this year too against Kansas State in a game that realistically they probably should have won. So like in this matchup where I think their bodies can hang and I think they're going to make Texas Tech run and get very uncomfortable defensively, which usually like Texas Tech is super disciplined in making sure that they get back and on transition defense and kind of shorten the game and make it in the half court. They haven't done that this year against teams that like are really able to get out in transition and run and get points off of turnovers and everything like that. So like I think Oral Roberts is going to make Texas Tech speed up in this game and make them score. And that's how they're going to win. Like I think you're going to have to win from Pop Isaacs and Toussaint having masterclasses on the offensive end. I don't think they're going to be able to win with defense in this one. So this screams like a 80-70 type game for me in Texas' Tech favor.
Pop Isaac's legacy game?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get his shots up against his perimeter defense. Like I wouldn't mind targeting him and or Toussaint in this game. So I think they're both going to grub. There's not going to be anything on the perimeter that scares me for Oral Roberts defending either of those guys. So I just think this is a guard-heavy game.
Okay, that's fair. Pop Isaacs, might have to target him on the CBB board.
Look at Pop. Yeah, I mean, he's going to take damn near 20 shots. Just a question of if he drops 5 for 20 or shoots like 10 for 20.
He's going to jack him up. We know that.
That's what he does. That's what he does. I mean, if we are talking like just straight prop head, like I love Pop Isaacs because I know that he is going to get up his shots, but like Toussaint has been the most consistent option for that team, which is weird because I didn't see that coming out of anywhere because he wasn't really like a huge offensive guy anywhere he's been, but he's been the consistent and more efficient guy for them. So like I wouldn't mind taking him as well.
Okay. That's fair. Chat's asking thoughts on the NC State game. No real opinions or leans. I really don't like much in that game. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know what's good with this NC State team yet.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I mean, I kind of think they won that game by 30, but don't know if I'm going to get to the counter and playing that.
Okay, fair. Let's get to the nightcap. I got a late night game that I like that I would love to convince you to take. Our guy Booker with Prime. Hey, good meeting you, by the way, on Sunday, my man. That was a W, but I am going to ruin your day here. I like Cal Baptist late night with the spread. Not personal, Booker with Prime, just business. And I had this one on the best bets anyways, but this is my favorite college basketball play of the day for a couple reasons. Number one, the spread's short. Number two, I don't believe in Oregon. Number three, Oregon is a late bloomer. Typically, they start out kind of slow. They're even known for some notorious pretty bad losses early on. And their coach kind of rounds up the crew and gets them into form in the second half of the season. And it's typically too late to make any real noise and get a good seed in the March Madness tourney, but they still find their way in there and play good basketball at the end of the year. They're not a first half of the season team. Cal Baptist, on the other hand, holy smokes, this team has impressed the heck out of me. I got a soft spot in my heart for this team. After Terran Armstrong last year was there, he was there for the last couple seasons. I had my eye on that kid since he was a freshman. Thought he was going to be an NBA talent. Could have been. I think he went over and took the bag overseas instead of trying to make it to the G League. But kid was an absolute stud. I thought Cal Baptist was going to absolutely stink this season, Javon. But then Dominique Daniels Jr. shows up. And this kid has been the best scorer that I've seen probably in their entire conference, not just on their team. This kid is a fucking bucket, and he's only a sophomore. I'm very curious to see where this kid ends next year because he won't be on Cal Baptist, I'll tell you that much. He's been unbelievable. He's averaging almost 18 points a game for the Lancers so far this season. You could even make a debate that he might be one of the better players on the floor tonight, number one. So keep your eyes on him, guys, tonight. And he's coming off a 30-burger. This guy shoots plenty. Okay, he had 24 shots in that last game, in that loss in their last game at Cal Baptist, in a pretty hard-fought battle against Utah Tech. I'll tell you what, though, Javon, I want to back this team on a bounce-back spot coming off that L, and I want to keep fading Oregon, a team I don't believe in. They just played crummy UTEP before that, and a struggling Michigan team that just fired their coach. Not really impressed by those wins at all. Fade Oregon, back to Lancers on the road here. That spread short.
Yeah, I think I'm in. Especially because, if you're talking about where are they going to score from, very obviously we know where it's going to come from Cal Baptist. That Oregon perimeter defense, which partially not their fault because they're dealing with a couple of injuries, but they're not good. They get shredded, especially from three. So, he's a very Pop Isaacs-like guy to me. And against Oregon and the cast of guards that he's going to be seeing defensively, that's definitely a matchup that intrigues me. So I'm kind of in. Good spot too, though. Losing to like our man saying here, Cal Baptist did just lose to Utah Tech at home, though. Exactly.
Love that spot.
That's my win.
Absolutely love that spot.
Oregon's been sleeping a little bit. Had a sleepy UTEP win after a massive, massive Michigan win. So this could be a pretty disastrous spot with a trip. I think they're going to – I don't know what the Carrier Dome is called anymore, but they're going to Syracuse this weekend, which is that's going to be a massive game too. So weird, really weird. You think
they're prepping for Cal Baptist, or you think they're prepping for the Syracuse game on the road?
Yeah.
Probably the latter.
And I don't know. I don't know if you know what sleepy means here, brother. Sleepy because they're playing a team who can't score. It's like they didn't have to do much to win.
Yep. 71-49 in that game. One of the lowest scoring games of the season for Oregon. Yeah, they have not really played anybody, to be honest with you, yet. They lost to Alabama. They did cover that game. That's really been their only test this season. I mean, they lost to Santa Clara. You can't be losing to Santa Clara's. You can't be losing to the Broncos, even if they have Jalen Benjamin, Mount St. Mary's legend or not. You still can't be losing to Santa Clara's.
Yeah, I mean, they're just super hurt. So, anytime they've gotten into a relatively low scoring game, it hasn't been impressive, and they haven't they've played a lot of more high tempo teams. So Cal Baptist could be a little bit of a switch up today, which I guess you look at that total too, it would kind of indicate that 137.5 after I know outside of UTEP, Oregon's been needing to score a lot in these games to hang into it. So this could be a gross one.
This could be a gross one, and I'll tell you what, they've got a big body, Yvonne. I forget how to pronounce his first name. It's almost like Javon, but it's Yvonne. 6'9", 250-pound Frenchman in the paint for Cal Baptist, the senior, and he's been doing a heck of a job this season, almost averaging 10 rebounds per game. He'll be able to hang in the paint a little bit and provide some size against that relatively big Oregon team. Not really worried about that. They've got the size, they've got the bodies. Honestly, Javon, if this Cal Baptist team shoots how they're supposed to, if they shoot 36% from three like they've been doing all season, in the top 25% of college basketball, they will cover this game. All they have to do is do their job and make their shots. Okay. Awesome. Cal Baptist. I would love to see the splits on the Lancers. I've been waiting patiently to back this team, Javon. Have not bet on them since Taron Armstrong has been on their squad. So I'm excited for this one tonight. 16% of bets, 34% of handle on the green book, folks, on that spread for the Lancers. Love to see that. That is music to my freaking ears. Beautiful.
We like that.
Absolutely beautiful. We love those splits. All right. Give me the freaking Lancers, chat. And I'll tell you what, Taron Armstrong's brother is still on this team, I believe. And he's been getting better.
No way, we got a baby Armstrong.
Yeah, you don't remember? Oh, he might have transferred. Oh, he transferred. Boo.
It's kind of soft.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find out where the hell he went. Is it Mark Armstrong? No. I'm going to do some digging on that later because nobody gives a shit. But, chat, we just went through the entire college basketball slate and covered all the important games, all the ones we liked. Javon, was there anything we missed?
Don't think so.
Okay. W's. Yeah, I'm not really loving that Bryant game or the Boise game either. Their spreads are fat in those two contests, so nothing really there for me. You want to go to the ice?
Let's go to the ice. Rumors saying you have a play on the ice today.
People are talking, and they're correct. Yes, I do have a play on the ice tonight. Javon, I want you to take us through this ice slate. You've been killing it. You've been on fire recently on the ice. Take us through what you like. Go.
Yeah, so originally I had on my best bets, probably my favorite side of the day is the Rangers, but that price went very quickly up from minus 150 to minus 180, so I got to figure out how I'm playing the Rangers. But this is a really disastrous spot for the Leafs, which I don't know if you remember, like the Kings. I don't know if this was like a thing that they have a couple different teams doing this year or what, but going to play the Islanders and the Rangers, little New York road trip, back-to-back days, I think that's a death sentence for teams. So like the Kings did it, especially when you play the Islanders first. I love playing teams that are off of back-to-back against the Islanders because they're a big physical team that makes you work. So the Leafs are coming in a situation not only off of that and off of this weird situation, but they've had 3 games now that are kind of weird spots, which one got over the hump, big win on the road in Ottawa where they got thoroughly outplayed. Next game, they had a shutout, which their goalie, Wall, got hurt in that Senators game. So the first game without Wall, their backup Samsonov came in. He's been shit. He came in with a shutout. It was a big do-it-for-Wall type game. Whatever. He looked great. And last night, it was the fate of Samsonov coming off of that shutout against the Islanders, first game of that little mini road trip. So that's a three massive games that they had to get up for. And now you're playing the Rangers off of back-to-back with Martin Jones in net, who I think is making his first start of the season because the only time he's come in was in relief after Wall got hurt in the Senators game. And a lot of the discourse was happening about Igor, who's in all likelihood going to be in net for the Rangers. Rangers were a very public team, very popular team against the Senators or against the Caps over the weekend. Igor was terrible. And they got shut out 4-0 on that game. So there's a lot of Twitter talk about Igor being washed, Igor being dead. Now he's back in net at home against the Leafs. Chance to make a little bounce back statement for him. So I think the spot kind of screams Rangers here. So I'm on them. I got to figure out how I'm going to play them. Maybe play them in reg. But that price has gotten fat, and I think it's pretty telling that it's gotten that fat.
Okay.
Another one that I think is pretty telling.
Yeah, keep ripping. I got to hit the bathroom real quick. But
You're good. Penguins. That price is fat, and especially their team total is what catches my eye here. So the Yotes are off back-to-back here, so it's a weird spot for them, and I have no problem fading the Yotes on the road. But the Penguins, I especially like that the Penguins are a physical team, and you think of the problems with the Penguins over the past, I don't know, week, maybe really longer than that. It's been that they're dormant offensively. There's not much to look for there. So against the Yotes team, who I love the spot fade for Connor Ingram, which I did this weekend with the Bruins. He was shit in that game too. I think he's going to start falling off a cliff, kind of like Jonas Johansson did for the Lightning. I don't think he's that good, especially when they're off or not at home. Team total to drop from -130, -120. I think it's crazy that it's not plus money. So, yes, I forgot to mention this. The Tavares little 1,000th point, Super Bowl, NHL, Stanley Cup, whatever that was last night, even when they still lost. Pissed there. But back to the Yotes Penguins. I love the fake Connor Ingram. And he's been really, really good for the Yotes, especially when they're at home. And he started to kind of show signs that he's falling apart at the seams. And my favorite thing to do line-wise when I see goals allowed on the books, when I see a guy who's been relatively hot, I guess you can say he had a shit game last game, but when I see the 3.5, that is a little juicier than I think it should be towards that over for Connor Ingram with a Tristan Jarry sitting at 2.5, which I think he's going to have a really good game. So I think the Penguins win this one by a lot. If we're talking about a guy that I like today, I like Sidney Crosby to have a massive game. I'm taking his assist square on Prize Picks and then 2+ points in the books just because he scores. But this screams like 4-1 Penguins to me. I'm going to play that team total over at 3.5.
Okay.
So I need that. That's the one that stands out. We can go to the Blues because I'm with you on that one. There's a lot of weird spots or tough spots for teams that are on back-to-backs today. This is one of them with the Wings. They played the Stars last night. Stars aren't the Islanders, but playing them off a back-to-back has not been great for a couple teams. So I'm 100% down to buy into that narrative, but I think they're starting to, I don't want to say fall off a cliff, but when they've been immune to a lot of these weird spots for, towards the beginning of the season, not so much anymore. So like the Blues, now you're coming off of 2 ridiculous losses because they're not very good, but 2 ridiculous losses to the Blackhawks and Blue Jackets. This price still seems a bit steep. So I'm kind of with you, and I can assume that's why you're on it.
Yeah, that steam is insane, and I hopped aboard. Okay, I'm riding with the Sharps on the ice tonight. It's been paying pretty well. Javon, I'm back in the Blues here at home, like you talked about with Detroit coming off the back-to-back. I thought the ML was weird. I thought the movement was weird. I don't know, jack shit about how good these teams actually are. But I feel like overall, they're pretty, even, I'd say, with their rosters. Would you give an edge to either of these teams?
Red Wings are better. That's what makes the line weirder. Hold up a minute. Yeah. Hold up. They don't have Crosby goal on Prize Picks. No way that's up.
Now wait a damn minute, folks.
If that is, I saw the odds because it was like -110, and I was like, "There's no way they're going to put this up." It is up.
Wow.
He has a goal square and an assist square, which I was already going to take the assist square, and I'm taking the 2 points. That might be air.
Huh. That feels a little too easy, though, doesn't it?
No. He's not a guy. I don't know if I've told you this, but when they put guys that aren't up all the time on the goal category, they score the first goal. Like the only guys that are up there like pretty consistently is like 2 Avs guys like Nathan McKinnon. Who else is up there all the time? Austin Matthews is up there all the time. Mikko Rantanen, that's the other Avs guy that's up there all the time. Sidney Crosby is not one of those guys. And it's not like the Yotes are horrendous. It's a terrible spot, so I think they're going to be horrendous today. But that's an interesting square. I need to find a line for Crosby to score and assist a goal because I'm taking that. I need to find it.
Both. A little combo, like a booster or something?
Goats. Yeah, these are the goats. Mikko, Nate, Nylander, and Nylander's not up there all the time. He's starting to be now, but really Austin Matthews and then McDavid and Draisaitl. But yeah, Crosby's scoring today, and it's going to be like 5-1 Penguins.
You could take his more than 1.5 points on the books at +130.
Oh, I know, brother. I'm tapped.
Is that what you're eyeing?
That's what I'm eyeing right there.
Okay.
I'm taking everything Crosby today.
Huh. Including that Prize Pick square.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looks like his goal is depends on where you look. I mean, Blue Book is barely plus chick for him to score a goal. All the other books are -105. It's looking like right now. So, hovering around evenish for that. And I'm with you. I mean, maybe it is a big name, Sidney Crosby, but if he's not typically up there, maybe it is a little bit weird. Let me take him to skull.
Yeah. And what if I told you this too? So the reason I guess you were out for a second while we were talking about this, but the team total, the Penguins have scored 4 goals once in the past month, and their team total is 3.5 minus 120 to the over. It opened minus 130, so it got a little shorter, but it's minus 120 towards the over. With Connor Ingram, who's been really good. And when I look on Prize Picks, which this is kind of surprising because they just put this up now that Martin Jones is confirmed for the Leafs. So the Leafs are in a tough spot against the Rangers offense that I would say is much better. Martin Jones is up for 3.5 goals allowed, plus 135. Connor Ingram, the better goalie against the worst offense, is 3.5 for plus 124, shorter, which I think is wildly concerning.
Yeah, that's weird.
As a potential Yotes backer, if you are one, anybody out there. So I think the Penguins score a lot of goals tonight, but we can move. Get through these games. Still with you on
take us through the rest of the hockey slate.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Blues. I do have a relatively crazy one, which it's only in the best bets because I didn't want to put the Rangers up there. Now they're minus 180. Take me to Vegas tonight. So there's a lot of teams off of back-to-back. A lot of teams off of back-to-back loss tonight. The one who I think wins is the Flames. So I'm taking the Flames straight up on the ML, which truthfully, this screams to me like Dustin Wolf is going to be in net in all likelihood. I think he wins them this game by himself, which anytime there's these type of games, the Flames defense has been pretty good outside of like last night. They had a massive collapse against the Avs in that game where they lost 6-5. So like on paper, it's a pretty tough spot for them to go on the road back-to-back games, going from Colorado to Vegas. I don't think so. I think this is going to be a closer defensive game than people are going to give the Flames credit for being able to play for. So I love Dustin Wolf's spot. There's a guy named Peter Kochetkov who was in net for the he's playing for the Canes tonight, but last year he had this kind of legacy run where he looked like the greatest goalie of all time. I think we're going to start to get flashes of that from Dustin Wolf starting his next handful of starts, depending on when he gets them, because Markstrom is hurt. Tonight, I think he shows out. I would love to be on Dustin Wolf saves tonight if and when we see that square on Prize Picks. I think this is a low-scoring Flames win. Not many teams that I can trust off of back-to-back or I want to take off of back-to-back. I want to take the Flames. So, I mean, if you're a little too scared for the ML, maybe lay the juice on the plus 1.5. I think it's a close game either way, but I think they win this game. They win this game.
Opened up at 6.5 briefly before getting bumped down to 6, and I'm seeing the unders even juiced on some books for the under there too. So maybe it will be a one-score game either way. If you want to be a freak and lay the minus 135 and grab the goal, might not be your worst idea, but it's still plus 1.5. It could be an empty net away from getting fucked anyways. I've never really been the biggest plus 1.5 guy, although Javon has found a pretty successful way to back those plays. So I will tip my cap to that, Javon. Whenever you say plus 1.5, I'm listening. But overall, I don't really think it's the greatest hockey play.
Yeah,
I think you're better off doing half you on the ML instead of just, a unit on the spread, personally.
Yeah, it just depends. If it's like a lower scoring game with an offense that's not great and you can find it like – I usually stop myself at like minus 135, minus 140. Then it makes sense. Like goods if you go down like the Sharks. Sharks like would kind of fit that today. And I think that's a pretty solid look, which they're that's probably not one you love to back because the Sharks have been – the underdog team that's ridiculously hot right now, and they're playing the Jets, who are a tougher defensive team, but they're you're buying a little bit of good news, which with the Jets, I'm kind of fine doing it if Kyle Connor's ruled out. So I'm going to be on the Sharks plus 1.5 if Kyle Connor's out of this game, because teams really just haven't been able to run away from the Sharks in like the past couple of weeks. I don't know why, but if they're missing their main source of offense, which it's like he's the only one who rips puck on that team, I'm fine. I'm fine getting involved before he comes back. So that's probably really all that I got on the ice.
Okay, W's. Let's make a quick pivot to the association. Let's see if anything is catching our eye over there. Okay. Wow, Lakers are up to 4.5 on the spread there after winning their championship. The only bet I wanted to take in that game was the under, but it probably still makes too much sense, so I'm off it. But that's where I lean in Lakers Dallas. You like anything in that game? I know that's a big one that people want to bet on and watch.
I mean, I can't get involved with that game because I would really love to fade both those teams off of the things that they did. Obviously, the Lakers coming off of the in-season tournament and the Mavs coming off of the most public win of all time last night. Just feels like a no-bet situation. Maybe they both suck. Go with the under.
Gun to my head, I'm taking the under in that game. The no fun under after the Lakers just won it, and the Mavs had a legacy win last night, and they're playing back-to-back nights. That's got to be tough. Golden State Phoenix. Kevin Durant, I believe, is out in this game.
Is he officially out?
That's what chat's saying right now. Yeah, he is, and so is Nasir Little. Are we seeing Bradley Beal play basketball today?
I would assume so, because I think if I was hearing rumors that this was going to be the actual Big 3 debut before KD got ruled out, just like it happened with Beal the other time.
It's all Beal's fault. It really is. It all comes down to Bradley Beal just not wanting to win. It really does. Awesome. Bradley Beal's in today. Spike fade. Give me Golden State spread. Sure. Not actually, though. I actually don't like that play. To be honest, I kind of like the Suns without KD. I just fucking hate Bradley Beal. He's a bum. Clippers and Kings, late night. Any thoughts there before we do squad ride?
Kind of think that game soars over. I think both teams are off of back-to-back. It's like defensively. I think they had a couple of guys play big minutes on either side the last couple of games. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to play that, but it's just my initial thoughts looking at the game. Total climbing.
Oh, no. Did the Kish Megalodon not hit yesterday, folks?
Did not hit, unfortunately.
Kish. Sorry, bro. Prayers up.
Yeah.
Keep your head up, my man.
Yeah.
I know you're lurking in here watching and hiding. Rude. Kish, head up, bro. Head up, bro. You'll be all right. Beal was horrible on your team for years. Why you hate him? Beal was on your horrible team for years. Well, if you followed him and watched him and just stayed tapped into the Wizards, you would know that he didn't give a shit about winning and he only cared about himself. All right. W's, Javon. Let's craft up a little squad ride action here. Goots, run that train. I want to see that puppy. Sure. Yeah, Kish, you could double down on a 40-unit Rhino bet. I would not recommend that, though, financially. Okay, you didn't hear that from me. Javon, let's craft together our favorite plays here. We only got about 4 minutes and throw this puppy together. I think we put Hofstra and the Lancers in there from CBB. What are your thoughts there?
I'm down with that, yeah.
Okay. Sure. We'll go Hoff, who right now is – what are they like? They're getting 15.5 points. Sure. We will go Cal Baptist plus 12. Don't let the Lancers get hot. It might be too late.
Don't let them.
College plays I'm missing there, Coach. Oh, come on. Arkansas, PB, and Jet. They got to go in there.
Pine Bluff.
I think.
Goats.
Okay. We could always take out one of these college plays, too, if needed. But let's put that in there as well. Arkansas, Pine Bluff plus 17.5. Javon's meat on tape. ML Sprinkle. Chat, take notes. Hockey. What is your favorite play?
Penguins. Trying to decide. I don't know. Chat. What do we like there? Because we could play the team total over 3.5. We could play. I haven't fully decided of what I'm going to play, so I want to listen to chat here too. Team total 3.5. We have Penguins and Reg minus 135, or we could take minus 1.5 for plus Chicky plus 130. That would be interesting.
Okay. Let's see what they come back with. Do you want to throw the Blues in there too, though, since you both like them?
Put the Blues in there.
Okay. Are there any NBA plays you have to have in today?
There's none that I have to have in.
Okay. All right. Sure. Same. I think we just pick a Penguins angle that you love, since that's probably your favorite angle on the ice.
Yeah. Let's go.
Muck line, Ron says. If Ron's saying muck line, I feel like that kind of settles it right there, folks. It might have to be muck line.
Might have to be muck line, man. Let me check and see what Jari's been up to, bro. Better off to taking the Pens. The TT more value, in my opinion. I kind of agree.
Make the call, folks.
Stick to plus Chicky. Let's go Pens minus 1.5.
Wow. Okay. Putting his money where his mouth is, folks. We got 5 plays, 5 winners, and you have 1 minute to vote. Hurry the heck up. Go. Hurry up. We got 5 plays, 5 winners. Hofstra plus 15.5. Cal Baptist plus 12. Arkansas Pine Bluff plus 17.5. Hilarious that I just said those 3 names out loud in a row. St. Louis ML on the ice. And Pittsburgh minus 1.5 on the ice. Hurry the fuck up. Go. You have 1 minute to vote. Hurry up. Chat, lock the heck in, click the right button. We need the squad ride W. Okay. We had one yesterday on the Giants. The rest of our best bets weren't the best. But you know what? Squad ride reigns supreme. That is the cream of the crop, most important thing we do, honestly, in our lives right now, every day. Squad ride. It is. Got to keep the train rolling. Okay, let's smack another one in a row. Let's make it 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8. Let's make it happen tonight, folks.
Yeah.
Get those votes in. Hurry up. Go, go, go. Javon, while the votes are pouring in here and the people got 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's going to be the Penguins, muck line. Okay. Penguins, muck line. Sure. Javon, any king of the board plays from you today?
Yeah, I'm taking the Penguins.
Ooh.
Muck line.
Okay. Muck line. All right. W's. I'm going to go St. Louis money line on the ice, and I'm going to go Cal Baptist plus 12 late night. All right. 2 plays from you today.
Actually, since you didn't win the squad ride too, I'll go 2-piece too. Give me the Penguins and give me Pine Bluff.
Okay. Sure. We got 2 plays each on the king of the board tonight, chat. Stay posted on the Book at BTL Twitter for us to drop those. If you're not tailing those, you are crazy. We got Pitt minus 1.5 on the ice for the squad ride tonight. Auto tail responsibly for a unit. Stick around for the surgical stream starting up here right now, chat. Trent's going to take you through the slate and find winners with you guys. Stick around, okay? We'll catch you on here tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll be seen. Peace. See ya.